What's good, everyone? Today I'm reviewing Terrifier 2, and I like this movie a lot. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to start off with my spoiler-free thoughts this time. First off, everything is just better about this movie than the previous one. They enhanced it on every level. The gore, the kills, the acting, the characters, the set design, the sound design, the music, and it's funnier. It's a much funnier movie. Not that the first one wasn't funny, but this one it was really funny. There were the scenes in the costume shop were really funny. Just Art's expressions are hilarious. The way he acts sometimes, and he's just an overall charming character, even though he kills people. Now the plot is pretty thin for this movie, which is standard for a slasher movie, but this slasher movie is over 2 hours long. Luckily, there are always more kills or backstory and lore to keep the movie going at a good pace. Now the movie could have been tightened up a little bit. It could have been like 2 hours. It's 2 hours and 16 minutes. They probably could have trimmed it down to about 2 hours. But I get why they would have wanted to just do everything they can with what they had. It's not a problem really that it was that long. Like I said, they fill it out pretty well. They expand on the lore of Art the Clown and where he came from. Well, not really where he came from. That's kind of the problem. They give you lore, they give you hints, and they have like magical stuff, and they don't fully explain enough. It leaves you wanting more. And when Terrifier 3 comes about, that'll probably erase this problem for this movie. But as of right now, there's a bit of a hint of dissatisfaction. Same goes for the backstory with their family's dad. They kind of talk about stuff going on with him, and then they just don't answer it at all. So, well, what's going on with that? But they'll probably cover it in Terrifier 3. And then I won't care, and this movie won't have much negative to it. And speaking of the family, this movie has much better characters than the previous one. We have a family of three, a mom, a sister, and brother, and I do believe the brother was a YouTuber. He's like a kid, but he's been a YouTuber for a while now, if I'm not mistaken, which is pretty cool that he was able to be a part of this. Now, the mom character can be a little bit grating. Like, I get why she's always angry all the time, but it's a bit much. So now this movie goes for every wild idea that it can think of, and that's awesome. But to get there, they give Art some magic powers, and it's like I said, it's never fully explained, and that's fine to a point where they're like, oh, there's magic, so he can do this. They're like, okay, yeah, he has magic, he can do that. But then he'll do some other things, and you're like, why can he do that? Like, this is cool, but you need to do a little bit more to earn it. But again, if they can elaborate on Terrifier 3, then who cares? For now, I care. So that about sums up my spoiler-free thoughts. I did really like the movie, despite my negatives, which are honestly pretty small. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of gore. It was sometimes a little bit hard to watch, but it was also really fun. And I do recommend this movie, but not for everyone. It can be a bit much for some people, I'm sure. So if you think you can handle it, definitely go check it out. If you want to see my final score, you can stick around to the end. On to spoilers. So there was a character in this movie that was not in the marketing at all, and nobody was talking about this character when the movie came out. I ever heard about. So there is this other clown girl. Art has a sidekick. I think her title is the Pale Girl. And I had no idea she was in the movie. And she's really creepy, but it's kind of cool to see Art with a little sidekick. And it's implied that some of Art's magic comes from her. This is where some of the lore I was talking about comes from, where she was maybe Art's first victims, or one of his victims for certain, and she was killed at like an old amusement park where there's a ride called the Terrifier, which is sort of where I guess his name comes from. Um, so I thought all of that was really cool, really interesting. I'm excited to see more of that in the next one. And they brought back the faceless, sort of faceless, super mutilated face, final girl from the first movie who killed that lady, and now she's like in jail, and people are hearing about her on the TV, on news. And it kind of, seeing this character again, kind of makes the first one just a little bit better, because it means like, oh, we're getting answers. Because like I said in my review, I'm like, what the heck is up with this lady? Why is this part in the movie? Well, now, because I hadn't seen this movie before, I know they're actually going somewhere with it. And it leads to this really nasty, nasty mid-credit scene that was just very uncomfortable to watch. But it's certainly interesting when she pops Art's head out and rebirths him or something. Now it's time to finally talk about the kills a little more in depth. And I said one of the problems with the first one is that that final kill was super dull and unmemorable. He just takes the guy off screen and strangles him. Boy, was I wrong. The movie picks out right where the last one ended, and Art just brutally tears this guy apart and like rips his eye out, puts it in his own face, because apparently he shot his eye out at the end of the first one. So that was a fun start. And then we get that weird, creepy dream sequence where they go to the clown cafe, and they one up Art's Glock kill that I talked about in the last movie that I thought was awesome. He pulls out a Tommy gun and just starts mowing people down in one of the goriest shootouts I've ever seen. It was wild, but it was awesome. And then we come to the two kills that were very painful to watch. The first one isn't even really a kill. It happens after the other one, but I'm going out of order. Art takes a knife and cuts off a man's certain part and stabs it into a gazillion pieces, and it was very painful to watch. Then we have the legendary bedroom scene, where this poor girl gets torn to bits and has literal salt thrown in her wounds. And I was like, no. I was like, my body was trying to look away because it was so horrible, but I was like, no, I gotta keep watching, because I was also enjoying it, because it's cool to see those awesome effects put to use, but it was a little bit hard to watch for sure. Like, it just keeps going, and then she's still alive. She lives just long enough to traumatize her mom. It was so horrible, but so cool. Just basically all of the kills in this movie. It's just like, but it's like, it's awesome at the same time. It's gnarly. Then we get to the finale where they kind of beat Art up, and it seems like he's dead, and like, oh, it's over. It's kind of anticlimactic. And then it keeps going. And then she gets kicked down a magic door into like a dream dimension or something. And this is what I was talking about with them just kind of going a little bit too far with the magic without enough of a satisfying explanation. I was just like, I don't know if this makes sense or I really understand what's happening, but it's kind of cool and I like it, and it makes it more of a climactic ending. So of course I liked it. It's just they got some splaining to do in the next movie for sure. In conclusion, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, even though certain scenes were a little bit hard to watch. It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting. Characters, again, a huge step out. I didn't talk about the final girl, well, final brother and sister. It was interesting, because it was a lot more fun, because we got like a cosplayer character, and so she's in like this battle angel armor. and it just makes things even crazier, even cooler, and more fun to watch. So I like that part too. But I give this movie huge thumbs up. Uh, I'd really probably give it a 9. Like, I really liked it. It was crazy. It's not super rewatchable, but it was a lot of fun. It was like nothing I've ever seen because it just gets so wild, and I just really enjoyed it. So definitely go watch this if you think you can handle it. But yeah, that's about all. Thanks for watching.